Well, I hope you folks haven't been too worried about me. My throat has been completely thrashed the last couple of days, and you can still hear that I'm having a little trouble talking, so I've been away because I haven't been able to talk. So I haven't done any videos for the main channel, I haven't done any videos from this channel. As you can still see, the Flotsam from my last vlog is still out. But I'm starting to feel better, at least throat-wise. Let's see, updates. My mom is out of the hospital, she's back at home, she's feeling great, except for the weird things that she has to be careful about, you know, due to the fact that they sawed her chest open. And there's some adjustment there, but she's feeling fine. Apparently much higher energy and feeling much more healthy, apparently, after the heart surgery, which I guess kind of in a way makes sense, because if her heart was, you know, sick, then it wouldn't have been pumping blood as well, and she might have been feeling a little tired. So yeah, good news there. Like I said, I've had an upper respiratory that absolutely thrashed my throat. So I haven't been overly happy. What is today? Today's Wednesday. So yesterday, which is Tuesday, I had a filling done on my back molar, and it was the quickest and most painless filling I've ever had. Now, I haven't had a lot of fillings in my life, the most recent one being, good lord, quite some time ago. You know, back then when I had it, you know, they still did the Novocaine and everything, but for whatever reason I still had that thing the entire time while they were drilling it. This time around, you know, they did the same thing with the Novocaine. They did a topical, and I mentioned to the girl who was prepping me for the filling that, you know, this is the first dentist I have ever been to that does a topical. She looked at me in shock, and she was like, how barbaric. And we had a bit of a giggle about that. And then, you know, the doctor came in and he did the Novocaine, and, you know, I didn't feel a thing with the needle, because they have to inject it in a bunch of different spots when they're doing a filling, and normally that whole experience is very unpleasant, but because they used the topical, didn't feel a thing. And he got done with that, and he said, actually, you kind of have sensitive teeth, don't you? And I was like, yeah, kind of a little bit. And he was like, I'm going to put a little bit more in. So he gave me a little extra Novocaine, and then wandered off, and he said, I'll be back in a bit once the freezing kicks in. Then the other girl came back, and she was like, how's the freezing coming along? And I was like, well, the entire right or left side of my face is completely gone. She said, that's a good thing, but I'm going to test to make sure. She grabbed this sharp thing and reached into my mouth and started poking things. She was like, do you feel any sharpness? And I was like, nope, just a little pressure. She's like, okay, then you're just about ready to go. And then she said, now I'm going to put a rubber dam in your mouth that isolates the tooth and keeps it dry while we're working, and it makes the composite, because instead of using the mercury amalgam, they were using the ceramic composite stuff. She said, we're gonna use the ceramic composite, so, you know, keeping the tooth isolated and dry helps the composite diffuse to your tooth better. I was like, okay. And so she takes this square of rubber stuff that has a bunch of tooth markations on it, and this really scary looking tool, and she puts it on one of the markings and stretches it open, and then sticks it back in my mouth and clips it onto the tooth. And so now I've got this square of rubber stuff, you know, all floppy and hanging out of my mouth, and then she grabs this plastic frame and stretches the edges of the rubber dam that are sticking out of my mouth over the edges of the frame, which now means that I have this big square of rubber that's stretched tight against my face, and you know, I'm sitting here going, oh, hey, hi, what? Which translates to, oi, this is really weird. And then she grabs a piece of dental floss and starts pushing the rubber down in between my teeth to make sure it really stays in place. It was the weirdest thing that I've ever had done to me in a dentist's office. It was very awkward. But then she did that, and then she wandered off a little bit, and here I am sitting alone in the chair with, you know, this rubber thing sticking in my face, and I'm just like, this is so weird. And then a couple of minutes later, the doctor comes back and he asks me a couple of questions, and it astonishes me that they can actually understand what you're saying when, you know, your mouth is all jacked up. But and then he set to work, and he did it so fast. He completed the filling in less time than they spent prepping me for the filling. Like, he did it really quick. I didn't feel a thing when he was using that stupid little high-speed drill that, you know, that everybody knows that noise and feeling. Didn't feel any of that. Then he used a different tool that I've never had a dentist use before. It was like a rough burr tool that rotated at a lower speed that made my eyeballs vibrate. It was a very strange sensation. And then, you know, he did this other thing that smelled a little bit like nail polish, that was like a sealant and kind of kills the nerves a little bit that might have been exposed. And then he packed the composite in, and he did some stuff. He kind of shaped it, I guess, a little bit. And then the assistant shined this, you know, super powerful ultraviolet light on it for a few moments, and then he shaped it a little bit more and ground it some, and then she did a little bit more UV, and then he did a little bit more shaping on it, and then she did the UV again, and then it was done. And that was it. It was, I mean, the actual time that he spent doing the filling was maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and I was there for a total of maybe a half an hour. It was ridiculous. It was so fast, painless, in and out. In fact, they did it so fast that the effect of the Novocaine actually peaked. Like, you know, it actually got number after I left the dentist and we were trying to figure out what to do while we waited for the Novocaine to wear off so it was safe for me to eat. So we went and did an EX raid, and I got, what is that Pokemon called, the new one? Deoxys. We went and got Deoxys because we had the EX raid invites, and then we did some random shopping, and we just kind of sat around in the car saying, well, now what? And then it got to the point where I felt I was fairly confident I could eat. So we went to a local place called Chicanos that has the most amazing Mexican food. Really, really, really good food. I would eat there every day if I could. Just really amazing, and the owner really likes us because we're always, really, really nice to her and very complimentary. And we kind of have a running joke because they have tamales on the menu, but they're apparently very time-consuming and difficult to make, so they don't always have them. And I have the worst luck for not being able to make it to the restaurant when they have them. And we've asked so many times that the owner, whenever we go there, she comes out personally to apologize for there not being any tamales, which is kind of funny in a way, but, you know, there's plenty of other really good food, and she makes the best mole I have ever had anywhere. And I don't know what she does to the pork, but their pork is also really fantastic. But so yeah, if you're ever in Quesnel, go to a place called Chicanos. It's a really good restaurant. Let's see, what else? I might be entering into a legal battle with a credit card company here called Desjardins because they couldn't seem to understand the concept of obeying the law. There's a law up here called the Business Practices and Consumer Protection Act, and they decided that they didn't have to follow it. So I might be getting into a legal fracas with them. Let's see, what else? Any other neat updates? Oh, my boyfriend's car. We finally got back from Hyundai, or Hyundai, or however the hell it's pronounced. We finally got back from them that the repair is covered by warranty, because apparently they're, this is kind of a PSA, although I don't know how many people will actually get it from my particular vlog, but there is a problem with engines, certain engines between 2011 and 2013, where after machining the engine, they forgot to deburr it, which is a really stupid mistake for them to make. So there are little bits of flashing and rough edges and stuff all throughout the engine, and they were causing premature wear on parts, and as the burrs wore down or broke off, it was causing a lot of sediment in the oil, and if there was a really cold weather, like we get here in Quesnel, or you could also trigger it by doing an oil change, you'd knock a bunch of that crap loose and it would get, it would collect and congeal on certain moving parts and completely destroy the engine, which is what happened in our case. You could still drive on it, but the fuel economy went way down and it made weird noises, and it would hesitate when you were trying to accelerate and stuff like that. So if you happen to watch this video and you have an Elantra GT that's between the years of 2011 and 2013, you need to go into your dealership and ask them to check your engine to make sure that it's not one of the series that was incorrectly machined. And if it is, they will replace your entire engine free of charge. It doesn't even matter if you're out of warranty. If you're out of warranty, they're still going to replace that engine for you. So yeah, if you have one of those cars, go get it checked, because you might get a new engine. And the cool thing about getting a brand new engine is that's, you know, the part of the car that, you know, is the hardest to maintain and keep going. So, you know, over time, it just breaks down worse and worse and worse and worse, and it gets to the point where it's just better to buy a new car than it is to try to keep the engine going. So in situations like these, where you have an engine that's supposed to last 10 years or so, if you get a brand new engine, that's basically 10 years of brand new life for your car. So if you can get it done for free, you know, do that. Let's see. I have some mail to open. I know what it is. It's some SMT transistors for my super miniaturized Jewel Thief project that I've been still trying to collect all the parts I need for. And I also went to a local thrift shop, and he's got a box of random electronic parts, and I rummaged through it and grabbed some stuff that interested me. One of the neatest things I found was this really old 7-segment display that has these raised parts on it. This is a very, very old 7-segment display. I don't even know if it still works, but that was kind of a neat find. And he also had a bunch of these really old carbon composition resistors. You see these a lot in older radios and such. I'll be using this for a different project that I'm working on. And he also had some of these really weird LEDs that have kind of a really odd shape. They're kind of, the lens on them is more kind of bullet shaped, and they don't have a flange around the edge. So it's a very unique little LED, very old LED. And similarly, there were some other LEDs like this one that also have kind of the very strange lens shape. So those will be interesting to play with. What else did I find? Found a very, very expensive Japanese limit switch. And this, which is just a kind of a neat power switch that you would find in some radios and such. It's got a very nice tactile feel to it. Another really old 7-segment display. And what else was really interesting out of this group? yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a bunch more LEDs and some Arduino cables, DuPont cables. So anyway, that's probably one of the longest vlogs I've ever done, but I've been away for 3 days, so I guess that's kind of 4 days worth of vlogs all at once. So anyway, hope you folks weren't too worried about me, all 5 of you. So I'm back, still recovering. My throat's still a little off, but I'm getting better, and I think tomorrow I'll start working on the metal detector kit. So hopefully I'll make some progress tomorrow. Anyway, see you all later. Bye bye.